Different Lifers, we're back.
Hey guys, welcome. What are we, season 3 or 4?
I think we might be 4 now. It's crazy.
Oh my
We're
goodness.
back for another round of season 4.
I've had people saying, when is it coming back? And here we are.
It is upon us.
We're back.
All right. So what are we going to jump into this season?
Well, before we jump into it, can I just say that we had an amazing time at church this morning.
It was a good day.
And it was so encouraging to me to be in church and be around people and just see your family. Community, and then just the worship and the message and just so many things about church. It was very encouraging. And I just want to even just start this whole thing by saying, if you're not in a local church, get there. Mm-hmm. Get community, because I know it's kind of weird that I'm starting it this way, but I'm serious. It's such a...
In our society right now, we've got so many things that work to disconnect us. We feel connected because we're on social media and we know where so-and-so went on vacation, where so-and-so's birthday was, but we've never known so much information, but yet been so disconnected from real one-on-one relationships. And what a beautiful way to get plugged into your church community.
Right. So I just was thinking, I was in service, just oh my goodness, overwhelmed with just everything about the Lord. And it's just we need to really press into that. And if you're involved in a local church, get even more involved. Yeah. If you're not, just go. Yeah. Just go and just jump in into a Bible believing church. So kind of sounded like an ad, but sure. It's an ad for church. Yep. Go. Get involved in your local community.
Do it.
Yes.
So we pulled our mics out for the first time in a few months.
We did.
And I just plugged them in, set them up, and Amy sits down in front of her mic and she goes,
I smelled it.
Oh, this is your mic. And so I'm like, hold on a second. What does that mean?
Because I smelled it and I was like, it smells really bad.
The fact that you smell something that is horrible, you automatically assume it's me, where nothing bad smelling could come from you. And so I assumed that because these mics have been stored for so long, there's some sort of internal electrical scent. And so I went over to this mic that I'm on and I smelled it, and it has the exact same smell. So I just really appreciate the automatic finger pointing of welcome. That's a horrible smell. That's you.
So I think I have a weakness, but one of my weaknesses, unfortunately with you, is I think that if there is a bad smell, that you're the only one that could.
It must be me. It must be me.
And you have told me before, because I'll be like, your breath stinks.
You come after me a lot.
And you will say, your breath does not always smell good.
Well, I just don't think it's super polite to just, whenever you notice any sort of negative anything towards somebody.
I don't pull out every negative thing, but I just smelled the mic and I thought.
There's certain things that aren't completely perfect all the time, but I just think to myself oh, okay, this is life, She's a human being.
You're much more
But
kind.
There are certain things about me that just get brought up real quick and easy, and I'm like, all the times that I have.
So I smelled my mic and said it smelled like him. I was like, surely this is yours because this is horrible. He said it smells like a cadaver. So they both smell. Yeah. It was just sitting in a box in the summer.
I think life.
The mics have been sitting in a box.
I think the thing to learn is life is just going to smell sometimes.
It is.
And you can either just let it go or bring attention to it.
Right. And another thing, like we just said, these mics have been sitting in the box all summer because we have not been recording podcasts. And we were just thinking when do we get back into it? What should we talk about? What should we do? And it really just took a point of saying, you know what? Let's just do it.
Let's do it.
And I think that's a great thing in life, to just be sometimes you may not have the whole thing planned out. You may not know every single detail of things, but when God's called you to do something, you just got to take that step. Mm-hmm. And we had to get these smelly mics out of the box.
Boom.
And get
you know
going.
What? It still stinks a little bit, but mine smells a little better.
It smells like a bad version of a leather shoe.
Or like my breath,
I don't know. It didn't smell like your breath. It just smelled bad. So I was thinking maybe it's yours.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know. I'm used to it.
So on this season, we have talked about, let's do the whole thing about things that we're learning.
What we've learned or what we are learning?
I think what we are learning.
In this season
of life. So when you're a kid or when you have your kids, they're in obviously a huge learning stage. They're learning how to walk and how to talk and how to read and how to write and all that stuff. I feel like teenagers and 20s and maybe some people into their 30s, they sometimes think like they've got it all figured out. They know all the answers.
They don't think, they know they've got it all figured out.
They know that they've got it all figured out.
Until they experience a little bit of life.
Right.
And they're like, wait a second.
But the older I've gotten, and I'm sure the same is for you.
Yeah.
The older I've gotten, I've realized, man, I do not know everything. And I really need help in areas, and I've got to learn from people. And so there's just things, there's just like practical things that we're learning.
Yeah.
There's big, real spiritual things that we're learning. There are things that people are teaching us. Like we go and ask people for advice. Do you see that bug?
I have, yeah.
I saved you.
I didn't want to bring attention to it, but yeah, it's there.
I got it. You can count on me to get this thing off track. You can count on me.
Squirrel.
Yep. But there is just so much in life that we can learn.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, let's just take this whole season and just talk about things we're learning. Things we're learning with our kids, things we're learning from the Word of God, things we're learning that the Holy Spirit is just kind of like showing us and revealing, things we're learning from life experiences.
And I think a good first step to take in this direction is to humble yourselves from your prideful opinions.
Yeah.
Humble yourself to say, you know what, maybe I just don't have all the answers. Maybe I just don't have it all figured out. Maybe there's some areas that I need to work on in my own life.
Yes.
And so, but yeah, I think that's a good first start. And that's where I feel like both you and I are at lately. It's just like, let's get this thing figured out.
Right. And the older our kids get, just everything, I'm just like, woo, I need help from the Holy Spirit. I need to ask people who've gone before me how to do things that they've seen.
Yeah.
And the Bible just talks about get wisdom.
Yeah.
Seek knowledge. Like my people
More
are
than
perishing.
Gold and silver.
Yes, like knowledge and wisdom and advice. I don't think you ask advice from every single person.
Yeah.
But you can have those few people that you really trust who love the Lord and ask them advice. And so seek the Lord. He directs the steps of the godly. All this stuff. So wisdom, knowledge, all those things. So hopefully this season we will continue to learn and y'all will learn with us. Mm-hmm. But that's the goal. That's kind of the direction and where we're going this time.
What would you like to tell everybody that you've learned? What are we going to talk about on this episode of what you've learned in this season?
So I feel like that was like a really nice intro and a real spiritually minded thing. But I'm going to put it in reverse.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we should talk about our RV trip. And what we learned.
There it is. Okay.
From our RV trip.
This is what we've learned from our RV trip.
So this would be one of those things in the practical sense.
What I've learned.
We've learned.
Is that RV stands for ruined vacation. To give a little foreshadowing.
Now, I do have to make a shout out to our friends Emily and Ethan. Because they watch every single time. Or, well, Ethan doesn't. But Emily does. I know you're there listening. And they're going to listen to this. And they're going to roll their eyes. Because they are huge RV fans.
It'll be fun, they said. You're going to love it, they said. It's going to be an amazing vacation, they said. And then we experienced it.
So, just, I guess, not shout out, but side note. What's the thing I'm saying? Disclaimer.
I don't know.
Some people truly love this.
Mm-hmm. But we had a completely different experience.
Right, so,
we had high hopes. We got into this thing. We rented an RV because we're like, we're not going to go buy one. We definitely want to rent one. And I got one. It was a 2021. No, 2022. So it's just a year old. So you're thinking.
A brand new baby.
Yeah, this thing's brand new. Like we got these huge dreams and aspirations. We're just going to go to the Smokies and just have an amazing time. And, well, what happened?
Well, step one, don't rent an RV.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I wouldn't have wanted to buy one. I think renting is essential if you're wanting to figure out if you like it or not.
Yeah, I guess if you're wanting to figure it out.
I'm so thankful we didn't buy an RV, especially after our trip. So step one, rent an RV. If you so dare, rent an RV.
What's funny to me is when you look back at the pictures in my phone, like we rented the RV and we're pulling it into the driveway. And I have a video of Jared coming in and he's honking the horn.
Oh,
and we're so excited.
I mean,
like
it's just
I've got the menu for the
epic.
week.
amazing memories. Like this, it's going down.
Yes.
I took a week off of work.
Yes.
I never take off work.
You never take off
this
that much.
Is going to be amazing.
Right. And so he's like pulling in the driveway and like beep, 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 beep. And so excited. And we're just like, yes. And we're loading it all up and like getting it completely ready so that the next morning we can wake up early and we can make the trek across Tennessee.
Man.
And even in the pictures on the first day, like we're just, all the kids are smiling and we're in the front seat like, oh, I love this. This is so much fun. And for the first little bit, it was not bad.
It was just like we were cruising. We're like, this is it. This is the life
it. Like
right
we would
here.
pull over and the kids could go to the bathroom in the RV. Like we didn't have to go into the
we've
gas
got our
station.
kitchen. We've got all of our food right here.
So it's like, who wants a
refrigerator.
snack? And we're just living it up.
I mean,
so the first night we go and we stay at this
it's called Anchors Down, and it's voted top 3 RV resorts in America. I think in North America.
This is why I'm saying
it was legit.
Like disclaimer, some people actually truly love this, and I think what it is they do it right. I think really truly we did it wrong.
RV is like people like I thought RV was just like camping out,
right, no.
Like you're just roughing it.
Like there was an RV that had a balcony, like.
Oh no! This is like RV on
people
steroids.
have their golf carts, and I'm telling you,
they're not
people,
going without at all.
No,
like they've got all the luxuries and they got the outdoors right there.
And we pull up into this really nice one, and on the side of ours it says "Rent me." So we're like one of the only ones that is rented, and in this like pristine.
Everyone's like, "Oh, guys, the renters are here.
Look who's here." And so the first day, now I will say, I can't remember what put me in a bad mood, but I was in a little bit of a bad mood.
I remember exactly what it was that put you in the bad mood.
Tell me.
You needed a break from the kids. And you were like, I'm so ready for a break. I'm thinking to myself, we haven't even started our vacation yet. And they're about to be in the same area as we are for the next 5 to 7 days. Oh, boy.
Oh.
So we got to the place and I said, hey, I'm going to take all the kids. We're going to go to the lake and go swimming. You just figure you out. And then when you're ready to come, like you can hang out. So
lesson number 1 we learned. Sometimes you just need a break from your kids.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Like an RV is a small space. And the RV we had was a very small space. And we have 4 children. And it was just like, and they were living their best life. Mm-hmm. Like they could not wait to go on this RV trip. Yeah. They were so excited. So they're all over the place and just like asking for things and all over. And I'm trying to like get my bearings and everything. So had a bad mood. That's going to be a running theme throughout this trip. Jared.
It was fun. We left you high and dry and let you figure things out. We went down, but again, here's a little plug for, what was it, Anchors Down RV? Man, they had they had this trampoline on the water. They had this huge water slide. It was probably...
It was big.
50 feet?
It was big.
They just went down this hill straight into the lake. I mean, the kids were like, what?
There was like
Are
a
you
beach.
serious?
There was like a sandy beach.
It was legit.
A pool with a
very cool,
really fun water slide that I went down multiple times. It was very fun.
So the error that I made on this trip was, I mean, I'm just trying to do it up as big and the best of the best that I can. Unfortunately, Anchors Down was so booked up I could only get one night. And so I decided, well, we'll just let our first night be there. The problem is the next places we stayed at were not near as good. So Amy's like, the first night, oh, I can get used to this. Well, then we go to the next place and it's kind of like, oh, wait, this isn't as glam as the first place.
Right.
And it started going downhill.
Right.
From there.
So then we went to the next place and it just, we went tubing down a river. We went to Dollywood. It was fun. It was very fun.
Kids loved it.
Dollywood. I did hit a rock on my knee and I have a genuine scar.
That sucker's big.
I know. I have a genuine scar on my knee bone.
I love you just as much as I did before the scar as I do after the scar. Actually, I think I love you more because that scar brings back memories.
Tells a story. Yeah, we didn't buy any souvenirs from this trip, but I got a scar.
Yeah. Nice one.
Because every woman wants more scars on their legs. That's exactly what they want for their summer vacation. So I have like this literal vertical scar on my patella.
Yeah.
So we went and we tubed down a river. We did Dollywood. We did all this stuff. After Dollywood, it tanked.
It tailspinned? Was that what you were going to say?
Can we stop for a second? Because I feel like this would be a great moment to learn something spiritual.
Yeah.
Can you tell a brief story of our Uber driver?
Oh,
Because we literally were just like, thank you, Lord, that you let him be our
Yeah.
Uber driver.
we had no idea who this guy was, and he just picked us up, and then he just started sharing his testimony.
Now, why did we have to take an Uber?
Oh, because the RV was the drive-in kind of RV, and we were hooked up to the septic tank and the water, and we were just so tired of plugging and dumping and plugging and dumping. So I just said, let's just get an Uber,
Right.
simplify the process.
Okay, so we had to get an Uber. So another thing about RV is the ones that you drive, unless
You're
you have
stuck.
another car,
You're just stuck.
That's the worst because like it was rainy and it's just like
Yeah.
you can't go anywhere. You're just stuck in this small space with all
Yeah.
these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so we got an Uber.
So, Reader's Digest, amazing guy. We had no idea who he was, and he just started sharing his testimony to us. And he's like, yeah, my grandparents adopted me. My mom conceived me out of wedlock, and she decided to keep me. And my grandparents got murdered
In
and
their
died.
home.
And we're just all like, even my kids in the car were like, huh, what?
Wait, what happened?
What just happened? And
You
I'm
know
like,
when your kids are like not listening, and then all of a sudden something
Yeah.
is like,
and I'm
wait,
thinking,
can
where
you-
is this story going? Like, did you show up and go get the murderers or something? I'm gonna have to
Right.
like help my kids process through this whole story you're giving us. But it was a beautiful story because they ended up catching the people that killed his grandparents. He ended up running into one of the people because one of them. He didn't get a life sentence. He was more of an accomplice, but he like went up to that person in the gym and he saw him. He's like, "Hey, I just want you to know I forgive you
Yeah, he
for-
found the guy who was
for
a
killing
part
my
of
grandparents."
the people that killed his
Yeah,
grandparents.
it's so powerful.
And then he gives Jared this red
Well, he
stone.
tells the story of how he came to the Lord and how the Holy Spirit spoke to him and was just like, listen, you've compared yourself to other people and you've thought that you're actually better than other people. And you know those people that killed your grandparents? Well, you're no better off than they are. And
That's
it was
humbling,
just,
but true.
yeah, because it's
True.
just like, you're just as guilty of sin as they are. And so he just talked to the story about how he came to the Lord and how he asked God to forgive him. And he reached in his center console and he just pulled out this red marble and he said, it only took one drop of blood. And that's what set me free. And he gave me this red marble. And he said, I do this for everyone that rides in my Uber. I just tell them my testimony and I give them this marble that just says all it took was one drop of blood to make you brand new.
Oh my goodness.
If we so accept that.
Right,
gift.
if we
Yeah.
come to the Lord.
So, side note, that was the story.
So cool.
It was powerful.
So cool that this guy looks, and that's another thing. Like, so he's an Uber driver. He was
Yeah.
a retired police
Yeah.
force
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. But he's just like, how can I come in contact with people every day
Yeah.
and tell them about Jesus? And he did it in such a testimonial, just sharing his story, but it was very much pointing to the cross.
Yeah.
It was so good. And then he gave you that stone, and it's just like,
I have it by my bedside
You
right
do.
now. I'll wake up in the morning. I'm just reminded about it. Like one drop of blood is all
Yeah.
it took.
so
It's
the
so
fact
cool.
that the Lord was like, we're all sinners and we're all in need of a savior, and
Yes.
reminded him of that. Like, you're not better than the murderers.
Right.
Just because you haven't murdered, you're still a
Yes.
sinner and you need me. And
Yep.
it just brought him to his knees. I
Yep.
mean, the whole story. We
was
got out
cool.
of Dollywood, or at the entrance to Dollywood, and we were just like, oh
Whoa.
my goodness.
That was amazing. And then he gave us his number and we just texted him. He came and picked us up on the way home. I mean, it was a really cool experience.
Super cool. Okay.
Then we got to Dollywood and we had some meltdowns.
We had some meltdowns. Some of our children,
and
one.
we're thinking, what did we just do? We spent all this money to be here, and half of them don't even want to ride the rides.
Right. There was one point where we're like, you will ride this ride. And then we had to, when you say things as a parent and then you have to like
You're like,
step
"Ooh,
back and you're
I
like,
shouldn't
ooh,
have said that.
okay, I'm going to backtrack what I just said. You don't have to
Yeah.
ride this ride, but
Yeah.
you'll have to wait over here while we do. Anyway,
It was good.
we ended up actually really loving it.
Yeah.
The beginning was just kind of everybody getting used to it. But we stayed there the whole day.
Oh yeah, we definitely got our money.
We got there at the very beginning and we stayed till late that night.
But the next day,
Is when it
I
all...
woke up Mr. Krabby Pants, which
And
is
Jared's
not,
never-
Yeah, that's not normal.
Well,
for
I'll
me.
say it for you.
It's not normal for me to
Jared
do that.
is usually very optimistic and
Yeah.
very peppy.
Yeah.
So when he is like that, I'm just
know.
like, oh no.
Yeah. I was just saying, like, what are we doing here? Because the forecast for the rest of the week was just like rain, 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 rain.
And
we're
we
just
had
like,
nothing on the schedule.
We're stuck in this RV. It's not like we can just go to, like, some of you are like, you're in the Smokies. Like, go walk on trails and just go do the outdoorsy thing. But the deal is we had a 32-foot long RV that won't fit in these parking lots to
Right,
go
we tried.
walking and tubing and all these different things. And so
Tubing.
so you're just like stuck.
Yes.
And so I literally was like, what's the point? Like, I don't really, and I told her, I was like, I don't really feel like just sitting in this RV for the next 4 days with
Right.
it just pouring rain on us all day long.
It's
I was
true.
ready to go home.
It's true. And here's the thing, like, so there can be situations in life that are hard and situations that are not ideal, of course. But it's extra when you're on vacation.
Yeah.
And you're paying.
Right. We're paying for this
We're
misery.
like paying for being uncomfortable and not having fun and looking at each other going, what are we doing?
Yeah.
While our kids are like
Yeah.
monkey bars all over the thing. Like, it was just one of those situations like, what are we doing?
So then we proceeded to cook breakfast, cleaned up for breakfast, and we heard this loud shatter.
So the glass stove, I won't even explain it to you,
Spontaneously
but this thing shattered. It probably was my fault.
Which we ended up having to cover, which is part of it.
Right.
But then it hit you.
Then it hit me. So then Jared drinks his coffee. So he was in a
I'm
bad
a whole
mood.
new person.
He drinks his coffee. He's like, you know what? I feel better. And I'm like, well, I don't.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was trying to keep everything afloat. And when he got you know how sometimes in a marriage, like one is struggling, the other one is not because the other one's there.
Yeah.
So right when he was good, I was like, cool, give me the baton. I will carry the bad attitude. And
I'm
let's
like,
just say I am a
let's save this thing. I'm like, let's go to Cades Cove. I've heard phenomenal things about Cades Cove. We're going to save this thing. Oh, there was a lot of pressure on that trip, on that ride.
Jared was like, please let a bear riding a unicorn
Something.
on a unicycle cross this road so that
Something.
my wife will stop scowling in the front seat.
Something crossed the road for sure. And it hit our car. That's for sure.
We got in an accident.
Someone hit us.
Yeah, so we got in an accident.
Mirror exploded.
And y'all, I'm sitting in the front seat, like arms crossed, bad face, and the car hits our side mirror, and it shatters, and I literally just like glance over, I didn't even give it because I was just like,
You're just
cool.
like, you deserved it.
I'm like, there's another thing on the list to make us turn around and go home.
Put it on the list.
So just the whole thing was crazy, but we did do well.
The tough thing for you is that just like me, I don't take off for a week vacation, and it's the same for you. You don't take off a long time either, and that was your tough thing. It was like, we've been looking forward to this thing so long, and this was our vacation,
right? Which
and
sounds very
it was hard for
first
you to
world
swallow.
problem.
It was a hard pill for you to swallow.
Yeah. That's how I felt because I was having a pity party, but that is very much like a first world problem.
And unbeknownst to our children, they are having the time of their life.
Absolutely.
They're like, we've got an in-house jungle gym on wheels. This is amazing.
They had the best time.
So as we are floundering like a fish out of the water, our kids are just living the life.
They are.
And
So I'm in
yeah.
such a bad mood. I'm just like, don't even, because we left like this doormat that belonged to that's all we left at the campsite that we were going to be going back to. I was like, we'll buy him a new doormat.
Just go home.
Turn around and drive all the way back home.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Jared talked sense into me. He said, let's just kind of slowly go back tomorrow.
Yeah,
that way
yeah.
we don't pull the rug from our kids' feet. And we did that night because we had so much food for the rest of the week.
Right.
We just had like a big dinner,
Yeah.
all this stuff. The next day we went and hiked a waterfall, which was so fun and so beautiful.
Met some cool people from New Zealand.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember that couple with their daughter? That was really cool getting to connect with them.
Yeah. And I don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you for being honest right now.
I was just.
Thank you for
I
being
thought you were
honest.
talking about the couple who took our picture.
So
but then when you said the daughter, and then I was like, I don't remember them having an Australian accent.
Do you remember down by the creek, the Fijian couple, the Fijian bodybuilder, and then his wife?
Oh, back at the campsite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at the waterfall.
Yeah. I was trying to pull you back. You were like
yes.
fast forwarding, but I was like, once we decided to stay, I'm
Yes.
talking about all the great things that came from that.
Now I know who
Met
we're
some
talking
really
about.
cool people. Very nice.
Yes.
And then you're right. The next day I had a great breakfast. And then what were you saying about the waterfall?
So fun. It was like
It was
really,
for me. It was the highlight of the trip.
it
for
was
me,
a
honestly.
very fun hike and kind of difficult with the 4 kids,
Yeah.
which made it fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like walk down these stairs and there's a waterfall.
What was the name of the falls?
Oh goodness.
Was it Cummins?
Cummins
Falls?
Falls.
Okay.
That's it.
It's funny that we both are blanking on it.
I know.
But we went and did Cummins Falls, which if you haven't done that yet, do it. You got to buy a voucher. You can't just show up and go to it. It's so popular that you have to buy a voucher. I think it's in Cookeville or
Somewhere.
Crossville, one of those C-word
Is
towns.
Crossville a place?
But yes.
Okay.
But it is definitely do it if you're in that area there. It's
Yes.
totally worth the view and everything.
So we did
Beautiful.
that, and then we got homemade ice cream, and we
Yeah.
kind of just slowly made our way back home.
The ice cream was great.
Delicious.
It was Wisconsin homemade ice cream,
Right.
which, as this Wisconsin native person, cheesehead, she was in her element.
Yes, I love ice cream.
I know.
We don't always have it.
Your stomach doesn't always love it.
I
but-
know. I can tell when I've had it. I can tell when I've had a lot of it. If I just have
Yeah.
like one thing of ice
Yeah.
cream, I'm good.
Yeah.
Y'all don't care.
Yeah.
And so made our way back, and we kind of redeemed the trip, at least on our end.
Yeah.
Again, our kids
Yeah.
had an epic time the whole time. We just had like a bad attitude
Yeah.
for a good portion of it.
So what did you learn from all that trip, on the RV trip?
Well, what I learned is I should do better with controlling my attitude, because I am an example to my children, and they learn from me.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, yes, it was a vacation, but still it was a life experience. And there's going to be so many life experiences that I have had that I didn't enjoy, and that I will continue to have
Yeah.
that I don't enjoy.
Yep.
And so because I don't enjoy it, does that give me the free ticket to now act like a little diva?
Because there were 4 beautiful people that were having the time of their life.
They
and
really
you
did.
could have pulled them down with you.
Right.
Real quick.
Right. So, I mean, it was just one of those things that I could have done a better job of. The fact that we didn't enjoy certain parts,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But how I handled it,
Yeah.
I could have been better. I was just kind of like acting like just immature. I was
We
just
can
kind of
all
like
be that way.
arms crossed and just
Yeah.
kind of scowling like, I can't believe this is happening. I was having a
Yep.
pity party,
I
all
did
this
too.
stuff. And there was a couple times I had to apologize to the kids for how I was acting, because I was just,
Yeah.
I wasn't having fun. And I'm like,
yeah.
in like a selfish way, like if I'm not having fun, then I get to throw a fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I learned, I mean, I didn't resolve it when I was there because I was having a bad
Yeah.
attitude, but
But
I
we
learned
saved
just
it.
to,
We saved
did.
it.
We did.
I learned that if you're going to go on an RV trip, always have a vehicle that you can disconnect from the main sleeping quarters. That way you
Always.
can tool around town, go do whatever you want to do, versus just being stuck in this 32-foot long.
Right, because
thing.
the end, when we had those times of it's raining or
Yeah.
whatever, we could have gone to
Yeah,
a
exactly,
restaurant. We could have
exactly.
gone over here. We could have gone
Yeah.
over here. We could just get in the car and go
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But we just felt so confined and so,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I also learned, do your research on the RV as well. There were just so many things that just didn't work on this RV trip, on the actual RV. And like I called the owner, told him like, oh, this is leaking. Oh yeah. I just forgot to tell you. And it's like, oh, okay. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah.
So I
and
guess
then
if you're
on the
going to
end
rent,
of it, we had to just do so many different things,
Yeah.
going back and forth with the accident and then the glass shatter
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And it was just like, just tell us. Like, and of course we don't want to spend
Yeah.
extra money on it because it's
yeah.
it's whatever. But we did
Yeah.
break the glass thing. There
Yeah.
was an accident. Like all those
Yeah.
things we realized we have to be responsible and pay for, but we're just like, just tell us how much we owe so we can wash
Yeah.
our hands and be done with this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
please just tell us.
So if you're going to RV and you're not sure if you're going to like it or not, my best advice, maybe instead of, definitely don't buy one before you try it for sure. And maybe rent, maybe not. Only rent if it's like brand new. My best advice is go with some friends that have one. That would be a good start.
Right.
Right? Because that way you could actually experience it.
And experience how they do it right. Because I
Yeah,
said, like, our
right.
friends, I feel like they've explained so many
Right.
different things, and it's completely opposite of how
Yeah.
we did it. And so they've learned how to do it right. Pull the trailer, bring a grill for outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just so many things that would have made our end so much more enjoyable.
We've got a memory for a lifetime.
We do.
That's never going to leave us now.
We do.
Like even when we get like 96 and we start forgetting things, we are going to remember that one vacation to the Smokies where it was crazy. And you know what? Our kids to this day had the time of their life.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine, like, as a kid, like, that would be amazing.
For real. Just
to have, like, a house on wheels. So we definitely did save it in that respect as far as not ruining their memory or experience of it. But
yes. And then even
tough.
yesterday we were driving and we saw, not the RV we rented, but we saw one that was like it. And I was pretending like I was dry heaving. And I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. But what are you going to do? You're going to learn in life how things that you love and things that you don't, and you're just going to have to, it's how you handle those situations.
What you going to do?
What you going to do?
There is a good, here's a little spin-off plug to this guy named Dude Dad on YouTube, and him and his wife did this RV spiff on what it's like owning an RV.
6 stages of owning an RV.
6 stages of owning an RV. If you've ever experienced an RV or had an experience like we had, that would definitely be worth checking out because we had some major laughs from that. So.
Yes, especially after being in one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
that'll be about 1,000.
That'll be about 1,000.
That's pretty much what it was for our repairs.
Yes, yes. So anyway, that's what we learned. Again, that was just something practical, like a life experience that we had. As we continue on with the season, we're going to talk about different things that we might be just learning, things that we have really walked through in the last 2-3 years, things that we're learning.
Why not 38 years?
What do you mean?
You said we're only going to talk about things we've learned in the last 2 or 3 years. I've learned things for 38 years. I know,
but I'm saying like things that are kind of more current, that what we're kind of living and walking through. That's what I mean.
Okay, got it.
And I think it's going to be a really great season of just kind of learning. Because again, the Bible says get wisdom, get knowledge, get understanding, seek advice. And so I think it's going to be great.
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do that.
Will you be here for this episode too?
I'll be here. And I thank you guys for being here as well.
Yeah.
Tuning in, listening, like, wow, thank you so much for spending time with us and hanging out. So this is fun. If you haven't yet, check us out on YouTube. Subscribe. That way it gives you a notification every time we upload something. Leave us a comment, leave us a review, let us know that you're here. And we'll keep it going. Our email, if you have any questions or something you want to talk to us about, it's called the Different Life Podcast @gmail.com.
It is.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, email us.
So thanks for spending time with us. Though.
All right. Y'all have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.